Thank you, everyone, for hopping on today to our Q3 demo day here at Kingscrowd. We're really excited for this wonderful quarter of presenters that we have. For those who don't know me, I'm Chris Lustrino. I'm the founder and CEO of Kingscrowd. We really care at Kingscrowd about finding ways to bring you curated experiences right around the investment research process. How do we bring our data to life and help you see some of the amazing deals and opportunities we're finding amongst all of the noise, right? There are hundreds and hundreds of deals available for you to invest in today. How do you find some of the best ones? How do we connect you more deeply with the founders? How do we get you better access to the founders before you're making that investment decision? And so we really hope you find this to be a helpful and informative session. For those of you who are joining us again, thank you for being here. For those who it's your first time, we're really excited for you to be here. I think you're really going to enjoy this session. We have a very wide-ranging set of companies from technological revolutions in heat pumps to global fight leagues to technology that could potentially cure cancer to meatless versions of salmon. We really do kind of have it all, and they're very passionate founders and really amazing individuals. It'll be 5-minute pitches followed by 5 minutes of Q&A. Please drop your questions into the Q&A section. We do want to hear from you. That carries a lot of weight for us because it's an opportunity to really engage all of you and have an opportunity for you to hear the things and get the questions that you have answered. So we think that's really, really important, and we do want to hear from you. So please drop them in the Q&A as these folks are going through their pitches. There's nothing better than that. We really enjoy that. We'll have a vote at the end. Please stick around for the fan vote to see who gets kind of the best pitch of the day, most interesting company that you're interested in that maybe you want to invest in. We would also love to hear from you afterwards. Did it help you decide to invest or not to invest in a company? What did you value, and what more can we do on these sessions to help you really engage with all of this? The last thing that I'll say is that we do have unlocked reports. So you're going to be able to get the reports on all of the companies here today, kind of in a free unlocked version, as long as you give us your email to be able to check out the companies that are here pitching today so that you can learn even more and see even more of the insights that we have on each of these investment opportunities. It's going to be a wonderful session. Thank you for being here. I'm excited to get started here. So in a second, we're going to have our first company coming on up in Airthium to pitch for 5 minutes, and then we'll get your questions answered. Really excited for this pitch. This is a company we've been tracking for many years now, and excitingly just made an investment out of Kingscrowd Capital from. So very, very happy to have you here today, Frank. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, the floor is yours.
Started. So we are Airthium, and we make energy cheaper and cleaner for factories. You may not know this, but heat is absolutely everywhere. In your clothes, to make paper, glass, plastic. It's about 10 to 40% of a factory's production cost, like a product production cost, from the energy that you have to use to make that heat to shape the product. And factories today, they are trapped because the energy they use is mostly from fossil fuel, so natural gas, for example. It can be cheap, but it's very polluting and it's very volatile. We saw it during the war in Ukraine, in Europe, the prices went through the roof. And nowadays, with what's happening in Iran, we have the same issue again. And so inside factories, to make the heat, they are using a gas boiler. It's a machine that burns the gas and makes steam, make heat. And they can use electricity to make that heat, but today it's very expensive. And conventional heat pumps cannot reach the right temperatures, and they are still a little bit expensive. And so this is what we are solving today. We built a machine that takes electricity and produces high temperature heat for factories. And our machine can reach the right temperature. It's very efficient. It produces a lot of heat from a tiny amount of electricity, and it's completely safe. So it's non-flammable, it doesn't pollute, it's not explosive. And so it answers very well the need of industrial users. It's a very big market. As you can imagine, there are hundreds of thousands of factories in Europe, in the US. We estimate that there are more than 100,000 boilers. So the machine that today burn natural gas to make the heat in the US and the EU. Those boilers last for 20 years. They are of various size and they work at various temperatures. So the market itself is about 12 billion per year in the range that interests us, between 150 and 250 Celsius. And to give you an idea, that's about 100 billion a year worldwide consumed in energy by those factories. So they have to buy $100 billion worth of energy to run those boilers. So it's a huge investment in CapEx. It's a huge investment every year in OpEx to generate the heat needed to make all the products around you. Our system is containerized. You can see on this little photo, we drop it next to the factory and we connect it to the steam network in the factory. So the customer keep their own boiler. We don't have to modify their floor plan. And they still have the natural gas boiler when they need to use natural gas because electricity is too expensive, for example, in the evening. So our system communicates with the customer machine and selects the right time to use electricity versus using natural gas, depending on the price of the energy. And that's how we help factories save money and we help the grid be more flexible by using energy when it's really cheap. So we do not sell the container to the factory. We finance it ourselves. We own the container and we sell the heat to the factories. And that's very beneficial for them because they don't have any upfront cost. They just have to buy the heat, and only if it's cheaper than the heat they can produce themselves with natural gas. So it's really a win-win for the customer. Today, we raised about $9 million in venture capital, crowdfunding, loans, grants. We're 15 employees. I'm one of the only one without a mechanical engineering degree or physics degree. So lots of PhD, very scientific focused. We have 2 patents. A third one is on the way. And we have our first LOI for a pilot of 100 kilowatts to be installed in France in 2028. The machine that you see on the picture was finished last December. It was our first major prototype. And that's why we're raising now to go to the next stage, which will be a machine 10 times bigger at 180 Celsius. So the temperatures that factory needs today. And we plan to have this next year in 2027. So we are raising currently $1 million on WeFunder. We already have $300,000 raised. And in parallel, we're doing a VC round to help us fund the company up to 2028. So that's exactly what we did in 2023. 1 million in WeFunder, 3 million with VC. So we're going to do the same recipe again this year. So please come and join our adventure and scan the code or follow the link to invest. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Frank. It's wonderful to have you here, and congrats on all your success to date and your continued progress. So as I mentioned, please do drop your questions into the Q&A section and we'll work to get to them before the 5 minutes Q&A is up. And we have Leah, who's kind of led the charge on this investment opportunity for us here at Kingscrowd Capital to ask some questions. Leah, the floor is yours.
So nice to see you presenting, Frank. First question for me, you are one of the few companies here that have been raising several times on equity crowdfunding platforms. And so your last one was in 2023, 3 years ago. Can you please tell us what happened in the last 3 years?
Yes. So in 2023, as I just mentioned, we raised 1.2 million on WeFunder and 3 million with VC, followed by some loans, a couple more millions in loans. And that was to build the machine that you saw on the previous slide. And so now that this machine is validated, we put in our museum of prototypes and we're moving to the next stage. So the next stage is a machinery 10 times bigger. And this will allow us to raise what we call a Series A. So in startup language, it's typically the raise that you do when you're pre-pilot or when you already have a pilot, and that helps you validate the pilot and prepare the industrialization. So that's what we are financing right now.
And Frank, question for you from the crowd. Who do you expect to be kind of the core end use customer?
We target any factories that need high temperature steam from 150 to 250 Celsius. The biggest chunk right now of clients come from the food and beverage industry. So pasteurizing food, everything cooked with oil. Those are big oil baths at 200 degrees to make alcohol. So breweries. There are many, many customers that today where they are very price sensitive because energy is such a big cost for them that they know they have to decarbonize. They know they need a backup solution for their energy because they cannot have another Ukraine or Iran crisis that can nearly kill their factories.
Leah, any other questions?
Yes. So your business model is a heat as a service business model, meaning that people are going to install your heat pump on top of their natural gas boiler. Why not just replacing the natural gas boilers altogether with your heat pump?
That's a very good question. So because we can kill two birds with one stone, I think that's the expression in English, right? So we have two big problems today. One is factories need to decarbonize and they need to control their energy spending. Two is you have AI consuming so much energy today that it's creating a lot of problems with the grid, the electrical grid. And everyone maybe has heard of what we call the duck curve. During the day, you have so much solar energy that the price of electricity drops. And then in the evening, when there's no more renewable energy, the price of electricity rise very quickly. And so what we will do with this containerized system is provide services to the grid. We're telling the grid operators and the solar farm operators, hey, your energy that you don't know what to do with during the day, that today is curtailed, meaning it's wasted. They are selling it for free. We'll consume it. So pay us for that. And it's something that exists today. There are many mechanisms on the electricity market to get paid to absorb electricity during the day and produce electricity at night, for example. That's what batteries does. So we intend to earn money from both sources and solve both problems.
Outstanding. Thank you so much, Frank. Love what you're building. We're really excited to be investors here at Kingscrowd Capital now in your business, and have really enjoyed watching the continued progress of the business and excited to see it be commercialized. Next up, we are going to have Oshi. Hi, Ofek. Nice to see you.
Hello, nice to see you, everyone. So excited to be here. Thank you for the
I'll give you the floor.
opportunity. Thank you for Leah for choosing us and for helping us. Really appreciate it. So I'll start because I only have 5 minutes and you need to get everything about Oshi. So first of all, Oshi is the first company in the world that created plant-based fish fillets that really looks and behave just like real fish. We're now really need you to close this WeFunder crowdfunding round, and you're now in the opportunity to help us and to get in before we're ending it. So a bit about myself. I'm Ofek, I'm 35, I live in New Jersey. Before starting Oshi 5.5 years ago, I've been at Vegan Friendly. It's a non-profit that helps people to be more aware for veganism. What I was doing there as a vice president, I was working with the international vegan brands and help them to tackle non-vegan eaters and try to tackle their great products into various markets. And before that, I was doing a software company, took it to around $10 million in ARR, and today it's on 20. I'm still in the board of director. And actually, Oshi, my new company, involved both of my loves, which is activism, trying to make the world better for animals, and technology. And with that, I have been privileged to co-found the company with 3 brilliant PhDs, which is Ron, Ariel, and Hila. And together with them, we sat down for 3.5 years to develop new technology, new machinery with patents all across the world that help us to replicate the very unique structure and texture of fish. And with that, after 3.5 years of development, we came up with the world's first plant-based salmon fillet that not only look and taste like real fish, not only have the nutritions that we want when we have fish, which is the protein and the omega-3s, it also have 18 months of shelf life. So you can buy it, put it in your freezer for a year, take it out, and it will just taste delicious as it was before. And we have tested it in 100 different restaurants, which are still serving till this day the product across the US to make sure that people love it. And through this first year of being in those restaurants, we also made iterations and made the product better till a point we got the award of the best product of the year. This award has been given to us in the world's most famous plant-based conference in the US. I am here falling from my legs because we won in all of the categories, better than the meats, better than the alternative milks, better than the falafels and the sweets. And that gave us the confidence that we should go to the next level and launch in retail. So we created in a few weeks a white fish fillet, which is based on the same technology, same machinery, and with just modifications of flavors and colors, now we can do any species we like. And we closed the deal with KeHE, which is one of the largest national distribution in the US, and started to go retail. And all of this just happened a few months ago. So now we're available at Mother's Market, Lassen's, Bristol Farms, Clark's, all of those in California. But we're also in Earth Fair, Town and Country, which is Southeast and Northwest. And we're launching next month in Hy-Vee, which is the Midwest. All together without Hy-Vee that we haven't launched is already 100 plus retail doors, and with Hy-Vee it's going to be a lot more. And in November we're launching at Whole Foods with UNFI, which is the largest distribution partner in the US. So being with UNFI and KeHE, meaning we're going to have distribution to any point in the US. And I think personally that's now it's the best time to join Oshi because we're just now before expansion and getting into every household in the country, potentially, of course. And just being at restaurants, 100 restaurants and a small direct-to-consumer shop, we already did 225K last year. This year, we just started last quarter with the retail, already doubled the sales. And it's before Hy-Vee and Whole Foods, which Hy-Vee is going to be 120 stores in the beginning and expanding into 240 stores. Whole Foods has a potential of above 500 stores. So we believe that this number can be 1 million already this year and next year a couple of millions. So I really think that's the best time to join the company. Who is leading this round from the crowd? The co-founder of Oatly, Bjorn Oste, and he's actually he's believing that what we're doing with fish is just what Oatly has done with milk, and he thinks that we can really make a change here, so he's investing himself. Our production cost started very high. We made a new technology. It was very slow in the beginning, and this Q4, we're targeting to get to the $2 per fillet once this already being sold for $5.5 in retail, meaning that we're going to get to a positive margin and a healthy margin by the end of this year, which is really exciting for me. And the most important thing is just to realize that plant-based seafood is the most under-penetrated segment in more than $1 billion category of plant-based meats in the US. And that's actually the opportunity for each one of you to come join and be a part of those great investors that already invested in Impossible, Beyond Meat, and Oatly, and just to join Oshi and help us build the world's leading company for plant-based fish. That's it. You can ask me questions and you can scan this QR code and join Oshi today.
Terrific. Thank you so much. Awesome presentation. And I mean, it's very innovative and really cool what you're doing. And it's definitely high on my list to order some after this session so I can try it out.
Thank you.
Questions from the crowd. I want to make sure we get some of these answered. And then we'd love to go over to Leah, who led the research on this one as well. Question from the crowd. What does the product cost per fillet compared to the cost of salmon? And also, are there any health benefits compared to salmon?
Okay, great. So first of all, salmon, there is no one price. You can get a very cheap salmon, which is frozen from Chile, or a very high quality salmon, which is wild caught in Alaska. So we're more premium, okay? We're currently, our price is quite similar to the wild caughts, but not similar to the cheap ones, which are the frozens from Chile or from other areas which are bad quality. We're a high quality of salmon. And the other question you asked?
Uh, so health benefits and
Health
price.
benefits, great. So currently, salmon contains mercury, antibiotics, microplastics, and toxins that are coming from the ocean. And most of the salmon you're eating today is not wild caught. It's being raised with antibiotics today in fish farms. And we have a safe product, which is not only has about the same amount of omega-3s and protein, but also have the benefits of knowing what you're eating and knowing that through the process, there is nothing dangerous for you. And I think that's the main health benefits. It's the safety of knowing that you're eating something which you're not going to get sick of, even if it's that additional day on the fridge when we all, drop the fish out of the fridge a day after just not to be sick. So no issues here.
Terrific. And one other question, and then Leah, I'd love to hear from you. Are you planning to expand to many different products, or are you going to stay with 2 products?
So definitely we're going to expand to many different products, but all should be around fish, all should be around seafood. We're a plant-based seafood company, so we're not going to do meats and not going to do things that other companies are already doing. But definitely we're going to do more, and we're also going to flavor those products soon. So you will have plain salmon and you have it flavored, and you can already just put it as it is in the oven and it's ready without needing to make it in a recipe.
You are like, so I actually tried the product and it does indeed feel like a premium product. So it does taste good. So that was definitely that was great. And that's why I have a hard question for you. So as the plant-based food market has been going through a pretty heavy dip in the last couple of years. Actually, congratulations on still being alive. Because a lot of companies like yours went down. So congrats on that. But my big question for you is what tells you that customers are actually ready to buy your product and what makes you think that you have a chance of making it? Because I think this is a question that is in the hand of many investors right now.
It's a great question. So first of all, I believe that the companies that came before us, like Beyond Meat and Impossible, the innovation was mainly the marketing because plant-based burgers are here for 40 years. They made it more delicious, probably, but it's the same burger that some people like me, which are vegans, were eating it even before Beyond and Impossible. But the new companies that are coming up now, we're doing it at fish, and some other companies are doing the same at the meat sector. We're innovating the whole cut. The whole cut is a new level of product. It first of all has better nutrition usually because we're also innovating there, but the structure and the flavor and all the experience is on another level. And if you'll see today, even other companies in the meat section growing when they're doing steaks. If you're just another company doing a burger or chicken fingers, people don't feel they need more options there. They already have what they want. So I feel that us doing what 80% of the fish lovers are eating, they're eating fish fillets, they're not eating fish burgers, they're not eating fish fingers. We're the only company in the US currently that are going to retail with a fish fillet. And I believe that this innovation and the experience that you get from it is premium, as you said. And that's the potential of the category to grow now with the 2.0 products that are healthier, tastier, and better for you and the planet. Now, let's be in expectation. We thought that anyone would eat the product. Now the new companies are smarter. They know that they're not tackling everyone. They're not going to Walmart. They're first going to Whole Foods. They're doing it step by step to do it a healthy business more than something that will be valued in 10 billion today and then tomorrow in 100 million. Like the last companies did. So we're more disciplined, we're more down to earth, but we're growing the business step by step in a healthy way with a way better products than were before.
Outstanding. Thank you so much, Ofek. Really love what you're building. Super cool company. And
Thank you.
wonderful pitch. Next up, we have TibaRay and Ofek and anyone else coming on up. As folks drop questions into the Q&A. I know there's at least one more question for Oshi. Feel free to type text an answer to them so that they can see the answer. Then, so nice to see you. The floor is yours.
Yes, nice to have the opportunity here today. What I'd like to do today is tell you about TibaRay and what our solution to create the most revolutionary, ultra-fast and ultra-precise radiotherapy. So the problem with today cancer radiotherapy is it's too slow. The problem is the time it takes to treat the tumor take about 3 minutes. You got to rotate the patient and you expose them to radiation, and it takes the entire 3 minutes. During that time, the body moves, and you expose the same amount of radiation to the cancer cell and also the surrounding cell, create a lot of collateral damage, scarring, inflammation, loss of function, and so on. And the current solution is very costly and limit the access. But imagine if you can do the treatment 400 times faster than today, you will solve the problem of the motion that you have. If the treatment can be done in 0.3 seconds, there's no problem with the body movement. And on top of that, if you can target the tumor in 3D and do a conformal treatment of radiation to the exact dimension or size volume of the lesion, it's much more effective. And the very important effect is that was discovered 10 years ago. If you can do at 400 times faster to send the radiation into the lesion, the advantage of it's called a flash biology that allow you to really kill the cancer cell without damaging the surrounding cell. And this is a much faster way of treatment. Here, example how the radiation is done today. What is shown on the left is the fastest treatment in the world right now is from the Varian system. And you can see you rotate the thing and then you emit radiation every time it stops. When the people stop breathing, you start sending more radiation. And it will take the whole session, take about 3 minutes. But you look on the right side, this is our solution. We call that the flash therapy. We put an array of linear accelerator. Again, we can send radiation in 0.3 seconds. The one treatment is complete instead of the 3 minutes that you see in the past. So it's much more accurate. There's no motion that you need to worry about. You benefit from the flash effect that the cancer cell are killed and the surrounding cell has no effect. And it's much faster and it's much more compact and economical solution. The reason the thing is not possible to this date, and the reason being there's no linear accelerator that allow to do this 400 times fast radiation treatment like we have. As you know, there's no new design in linear accelerator for 60 years. And this new design that just designed by Dr. Sami Tantawi, which is a co-founder of TibaRay, after spending 30 years at Stanford and professor at Stanford and also had working at the SLAC accelerator at Stanford, what he learned at Stanford linear accelerator, able to reduce the size of LINAC to much more, as you can see the size here, that can do at least 3 times better power efficiency. We can deliver in some system 30 times to 100 times more dose rate with variable energy and dose rate. Okay, but beside the health application, the cure in cancer, our linear accelerator can be used for other commercial applications as well, especially in border security. Like right now, to scan what inside a container, you have to stop the truck and then scan it. With our new series of linear accelerator, the truck can drive at 30 miles an hour, and we can detect what's inside the container. There are also applications where you like to be able to look at infrastructure, non-destructive testing, look at the structure of the bridge of buildings. But there's nothing is more enough to date that allow you to take them and bring the system around. So in the past few years, we have been funded by the DOE, Department of Energy, to provide a compact, very powered portable system that can allow us to do very high energy X-ray for penetration. It can detect accurate material discrimination, and it's battery powered and portable. And for this application, the revenue for us for the DOE is about 10 million over the next 2 years. And we are applying, we have the first round of funding, and we apply for the second round of funding right now. The first application for our accelerator in radiotherapy, we partner with a company called Leo Cancer. As you can see here, this is a very interesting company. Instead of treating cancer in the horizontal position like what the industry is doing now, they pioneer the chair that they can program and move around. And then they have a CT scan that can go on top of the patient and detect where the lesion is. And so it's a much better, and I think the industry start really like this technology a lot because it's upright position, it's much comfortable for patient. And what we have now, we have the first order from Leo to provide them with our LINAC to provide they call the GRACE system from Leo Cancer. And we have a 2 million contract that we're going to deliver. The first order is for 11 system, and they have already a lot of backlog already in place. So what I show here is that how the linear accelerator is there. And then you see the CT scan and the chair. That's how the system is set up. And so what the advantage for our accelerator for the Leo system? For the total as a system, we provide much better motion management and treatment precision, very much greater patient comfort, higher clinical throughput output, and we provide the leading dose rate. The first solution we ship to them is 3 times the industry rate. And in the near future, we can even provide more powerful system. So allow GRACE to have the highest performing, most accurate precision. Currently, we raised total already about 28 million to date. And interestingly enough, we raised 13 million from the government grant, and which is non-dilutive. And we also raised another 15 million in seed and SAFE convertible notes to date. The last round of the SAFE was closed in February this year. Company has 21 patents, and we address the market that's very large, over $100 billion. We currently raising money. We do a parallel fundraising, both as a Series A and also on WeFunder crowdfunding. So you're welcome to look at our WeFunder site, wefunder.com/TibaRay. All the terms, everything is on that. So as conclusion, we provide the best we think, the closest what we can claim is a solution that can cure cancer, not to treat cancer, by using our flash technology. And also the LINAC that we provide can be used in other commercial applications for imaging and security and also non-destructive testing. So that's the end of my presentation, and we'd like to answer any question you may have.
Thank you so much. Of course, incredibly interesting technology, and I'm going to have Teddy, who took the lead on examining TibaRay for us here at Kingscrowd. But I do have a question from the crowd that I just wanted to ask you here. It says, I noticed Leo Cancer Care's 2025 press release describes TibaRay as an upgrade option for their GRACE platform, while WeFunder describes Galactica as designed into GRACE. Could you help us understand how the partnership has evolved since the press release?
Yeah, so they have initial prototype unit using a much smaller linear accelerator, but the intent is for shipping. Anything commercial shipping will use our LINAC, which is at least 3 times more powerful than what they have on their first prototype unit. And the roadmap that we have will allow them to even provide even more powerful system in the very near future.
Terrific. And I think one of our investors is just asking a question around trying to understand $28 million total raise, including non-dilutive grants. I think they just want to understand the non-dilutive grants a little bit more, what that actually means.
Those are government grants. I talk about the DOE fund that we have, NIH fund that we have, and most of the research R&D at TibaRay come from the initial granting from the government. Yeah, all the convertible note and save come a little bit later. Mm-hmm.
Understood. Great, Teddy. I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, great presentation, then. So my question is also kind of around your partnership with Leo Cancer Care. So are they testing your LINAC into their machines that they currently have on the market and treating patients with, or are they evaluating it for use in kind of a next generation machine that they have that they're developing right now? So like, do they have to get their own regulatory approvals with your LINAC in it? Kind of like, how does that kind of situation work?
Yeah, they're in the process of getting FDA approval. And so we are working very close with them to deliver the first system. We hope to have it sometime in Q3, Q4 this year to deliver the first system to them. And the first system is dedicated for Mayo Hospital in Florida. So this is a very, very, very interesting partnership for us because it goes to a very major customer. Yeah.
Got it. That's great. And are there, so kind of in the next, I guess, near term, the next 12 to 18 months, are you going to be focused on getting more of those types of partnerships where you're integrating your accelerator into machines that companies currently have, or are you also going to be at the same time kind of advancing the phaser, your own machine that kind of seems like the long-term vision, but kind of curious kind of how you're balancing those two lines?
Short term, we plan to work with companies like Leo Cancer.
Yeah.
We want to work with other companies for commercial applications. TibaRay also has a lot of technology like RF component that we can provide to the industry. When we design our technology, we also have to design a lot of this special RF system, and we can commercialize those. And but those are short-term goal, but the major goal, the end goal for us is to deliver the complete flush therapy system under our name. That's our eventual goal is to do that. Yeah, but we have a lot of things in place for the next couple of years that can help us generate a lot of revenue.
Terrific. Thank you so much. Wonderful presentation. Also extremely innovative technology. And I think I speak for all of us when we all hope you guys are immensely successful because that would just be good for society, right? Last up here, we have Global Fight League. And thanks again for being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate your time. Yeah, happy to be here presenting on behalf of the Global Fight League. I'm one of the founders and the commissioner of the GFL. We getting slides put up? Thanks, Teddy. Appreciate it. So GFL, Global Fight League, we're the only MMA team-based league on the planet right now. We're also publicly traded on the OTC market under the ticker symbol GFLE. Next slide, please. So what we're doing is new for the sport of mixed martial arts. However, it is the most historically proven traditional way every other business of professional sports is operated. So we're essentially taking that team-based business model that is used in the NBA, the NFL, Formula One, literally almost every sport on the planet, and implementing that business model to the sport of mixed martial arts. We're looking to evolve the sport in itself a number of different ways. Our scoring system provides the fact that every fight does matter. So every event that GFL puts on, every fight, whether it's the first fight of the night or the last fight of the night, they're all worth the same amount of value. And that season continues on from the beginning, first fight of the night, to the last fight of the championship finals. So we're giving fans a season and teams to root for. Additionally, every fan that we're engaging with. We don't want fans just to watch these fights. We want to create something different. We know the number one driver in sports fandom is cheering for your favorite teams. So we are bringing teams to the sport of MMA. Next slide, please. The numbers behind the sport are absolutely booming. The number of fans globally, it's the third most popular sport in the world for the younger generation. UFC just recently signed a $7.7 billion deal with Paramount for their media rights. There are views all over social media, all over the internet for this sport. It's no longer just a fringe sport. It's still the fastest growing sport in the world, and has fans all across the world. So we are truly global, and we are setting that from the beginning. Next slide. So as you can see, the value, which most people are already pretty familiar with, the value of all the major professional sports teams and leagues in the world are historically been a phenomenal investment for anyone who's bought a franchise in any league. And you see those continue to grow. So essentially what we're doing is we're bringing teams to the sport of mixed martial arts. Right now, obviously the UFC has done a phenomenal job of generating revenues and taking the sport to a new level, but we're just looking to do things differently and implement that historically proven team-based model into the sport of mixed martial arts at the GFL. Next slide, please. So there's our 4 teams we're launching with. We're going major cities across the world to start: LA, New York, Miami, and London. So this gives fans in those local markets a team to cheer for, gives something to watch from beginning of the season to the end, and just allows for more engagement year round, more opportunities for fighters to compete, to sell merchandise, multiple different revenue streams. Our biggest differentiator is the fact that we can sell teams. We have multiple LOIs signed for multiple millions of dollars for individuals who are interested in owning and operating professional sports teams in the mixed martial arts world. And essentially that's what we're bringing to market. Next slide. So we have our showcase event Saturday, October 17th in Las Vegas, Nevada. Fight capital of the world. We're going to showcase our 4 inaugural teams on that event, introduce our unique scoring system, give fans an opportunity to see how we're producing the events significantly differently from every other MMA organization out there. Big emphasis on bringing fans more fights in a shorter period of time. We've also got our first international event scheduled for November in Buenos Aires, Argentina. And then at the bottom here, you can kind of show our strategy of increasing the teams. We're kind of going at a walk run approach here. So 2027 will be a 4-team proof of concept season, and then growing by 2 teams every year after that. Next slide, please. So probably what I'm most proud of is the team that we've put together here. Amazing executives from the business world across multiple different sports, and individuals that have experience operating major professional leagues, and the fighters that we have connected to this too are pretty amazing. Whether it's former world champions, just great people that care about the sport. We're looking to fix as many of the problems that are just inherently attached to the sport of mixed martial arts, whether it's more reasons for fans to tune in and care about their fighter or their team, giving fans the ability to get behind a team and not have to kind of worry about the whole scope. If you just want to understand, hey, these are the 10 fighters on my team, it's a lot easier to kind of get emotionally invested in that, and then obviously following your team throughout a season. And yeah, we've got an amazing group of individuals that we've kind of put together that believe in what we're doing, and excited to see this league come to fruition.
Outstanding. Oh, do you have one more slide there?
Yeah, this is just where anyone can go if they want to invest. Check out some of our videos that we've produced, and just a little bit more about what we've got going on here. So invest.mmagfl.com is where people can kind of get a further insight into what the actual offering is and what's available.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Darren. I was intrigued by this one. I mean, it's hard to do, right? What you're trying to do is really, really hard. And I kind of say, if someone's going to do it, kind of knowing the experience behind your team as we dug in, it's going to be you all. One question that I have for you, and I would love to hear from Teddy as well, is, so much of what makes these sports leagues valuable, right, is the TV rights, and getting TV rights, and that's really, really hard. It's kind of like the make or break sometimes, for sports leagues in general. So when you think about TV rights and the importance of that on your business model and your ultimate success, how do you think about it, and how do you think about approaching getting those TV rights in the coming years?
Yeah, and that's exactly the key to this whole thing. And that's why I'm very confident we are going to be successful. There are so many independent MMA organizations around the world, and that there are, for the vast majority, they're regional. And I was a regional MMA promoter for years. So like I've lived this, I've experienced this. I understand the pain points and I understand where the opportunities lie. And the reason why all these major professional sports leagues around the world, why are they so valuable? Why do their athletes receive millions and millions of dollars? Well, number one, you've got a revenue share. You have what the dollars that come in flow also to the athletes, which is not common for the sport up till now. Additionally, yeah, that securing that TV deal, when these entities put on these events, they're usually just, whether wherever they're located outside of that region, there's just not the interest and there's not the library of content. What the GFL does is we essentially take multiple regional shows, package them in a team, and then have them all fall under the same umbrella. So it's not just 12 hours or 15 hours of content that's being created every year. It's that collective of all of the teams, all of the content, where it all falls under the same league, the same umbrella. There's connectivity from one event to the next. There's rhyme, there's reason, there's logic. There's something for fans to follow from the beginning to the end of the season. And then just like every league out there, for the most part, there's an annual champion. Just like how we are just so ingrained, so used to consuming content as sports fans. We're just implementing that traditional sports league model for the sport of MMA.
Awesome. Teddy, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, great job, Darren. So curious, kind of for these first two inaugural events this year, could you kind of expand a bit on kind of what are you hoping to get out of those two events? What does success look like there? How will that be distributed, media-wise, and what kind of concrete steps come after those events, to kind of move into the launch of the full proof of concept season next year?
Yeah. So we want to, number one, execute flawlessly. Like we need to show people what our brand of MMA looks like, what the type of fighters we're having compete for us, and what the experience you get when you tune into a GFL event. That first event, we're showcasing our 4 inaugural teams. So all the teams, the uniforms, our point system that we're going to be implementing. So that's pretty unique to us and what we're doing. The ability for new betting lines to be created in the sport. So we've got the ability to just have more traditional betting lines that fans are used to. So that first event, 10 fights, 5 fighters from each of our 4 teams. The total point winner of that event will be named the Showcase inaugural champion. We also want to use that event to take that content that we've created and shop it around, see who's interested in a new MMA product that is being produced differently, that is treating the fighters differently, and that that fans will be able to consume it in a different way. Moving on from that, we're going to Buenos Aires. That is a full team versus team event, so that's very structured how our season will be moving forward. We also the fact that we are global, we want some international experience. We want to gather all the data points we can. Hey, here's how much it costs to produce an event in the United States. Here's how much it costs to produce an event outside of the US. And then also have that data to be able to share with potential team owners that may be interested in buying and owning a team. And then obviously just continue and learn from everything that we do from those 2 events. Moving into 2027, that is our proof of concept season, where we'll have all 4 of our inaugural teams competing in a round robin. So every team will fight every other team once. The top two in that season will compete in the championship finals. And then moving forward from that, we'll be looking to add two teams to the season as we go forward.
Outstanding. Thank you, Darren, very much. Certainly an ambitious endeavor, and I wish you nothing but success. And it's really, really cool. And it's certainly in a very hot category of sports. I mean, the MMA space, I feel like, is just blowing up. So very, very cool. Congrats to you on your success to date, and looking forward to watching you guys progress forward. Thank you very much. So now I'm going to bring up Leia here as well. We're just going to do a little debrief. And while we do that, we are going to pull up a poll to give you all an opportunity to kind of vote on your fan favorite. What was your favorite pitch of the day that you're interested in? You know, it could be the one that you're deciding to invest in, right? What are you most excited about? Would love to hear from you all, and we'll crown a fan favorite here before we tune out. But before we get into that, as you all are voting, Leia, Teddy, would love to hear from you all about, you know, the pitches we heard today, and just kind of your general thoughts. Leia, I'll start with you.
Thank you, Chris. Yes, so um, I'll start with the two first speech. You know, we kicked off pretty strongly with Airthium, I think. Frank, they're just building a product that is extremely difficult to bring, right? This is a deep tech company. That means high risk, but also high reward for investors that want to be part of the deal. And that means they have to deploy some sort of patient capital. I think this is something that is very important to keep in mind. But when I mean high reward, it means if this works, this is just fundamentally change how industries are producing heat and everything that is around you. Your computer, your phone, your clothes, the food you're eating, everything is made through heat. So this is really a product that has a tremendous market. Oshi, I think in terms of market, is the opposite, right? It's more in a niche. But I think the bet that the company is doing is positioning itself as a premium vegan seafood product. And this is a niche that really just does not exist yet. So it's trying to open a new category for vegan customers. And it's hoping that these customers are going to be excited to maybe find a little bit of the salmon that they used to love. For the two other company, I think I'll let Teddy tell us what he thinks.
Terrific. Love
Yeah,
it.
I also am excited to try Oshi's salmon product because I am a big fan of salmon. So, um, but yeah, so TibaRay, kind of as someone that spends a lot of time looking at kind of medical technology deals, I think what's really interesting about TibaRay is they really have this innovation around their LINAC, their accelerator, that will lead to near-term revenue while they're still pushing their kind of long-term machine, the phaser machine, that was sort of that flash therapy cancer system. I think kind of when you have it's sort of a de-risking component to a medical technology startup in that they have a piece of technology that they can sell to end customers before their actual kind of long-term project comes to fruition. So that's something that I always look for as a de-risking aspect of medical technology startups. And I think TibaRay really does have a strong innovation in that accelerator that they've developed. And the Global Fight League, I've been a big fan of MMA for over 10 years now. So was immediately sort of drawn to that vision of, being able to rally around a team in a city. So UFC, for example, like I really only watch that now when a fighter that I really know well is fighting. Fighters that I don't know the names of, like I just don't necessarily care that much. Whereas if they were, a fighter I didn't know, but they were affiliated with Boston, where I'm from, then I would be like, I would just start rooting for them no matter what. So it seems like a very kind of natural next step for the sport of MMA, kind of moving beyond that sort of star focused into the team focus. But of course, there have been other sports that have tried team-based events, like Live Golf, for example. Obviously, it's a much different sport and not necessarily apples to apples comparison at all. But will just be really interesting to see how the market responds to a team format for MMA. But yeah, overall, kind of all four companies kind of spanning many, many different industries, I think kind of just shows the diversity of the deal flow we have in equity crowdfunding. And yeah, I thought it was a really great pitch session.
Awesome. And we're at about 62% of the vote, or I guess 75%, 65% of all folks have voted. But before we get to that, just provide a few of my thoughts. Today, I think what we've presented are deeply ambitious businesses, right? These are kind of those 0 to 1, those companies that can really change your overall portfolio. I like having a balance in my portfolio, right? I like finding those companies that have a bunch of traction or looking for exits in the next 2 to 5 years, and understanding that these are much more on the spectrum of, Airthium is a deep technology company, right? This is like really exciting technology, but it takes a long time to develop and show you can do it at scale and work in manufacturing processes and really, be able to meet all the requirements of large factories and things like that to be considered safe so that you go to market. TibaRay, same thing when you're dealing with the body, right? And you're dealing with cancer technology. These are things that take years and years to really prove out. But then again, if you're right, holy cow, right? It could be a huge, huge opportunity. Global Fight League, it's that if they could prove the model that they have tons of fans and people just love the product they're putting on the map, well, then those TV rights are going to come along and completely change the game of what, the spectrum for that company is. And Oshi is perhaps the closest to that, like just near-term commercialization, right? I think they're right at the doorsteps of major commercialization, getting into major stores like Whole Foods. But all of them are kind of category definers. It's super interesting to me, and they're all really exciting companies. And I love kind of the diversity and plethora of companies that we got to see today. Strongly recommend, if you enjoyed the session today, to go check out Kingscrowd if you're not already an Edge member. When you sign up to be an Edge member, we have a 7-day free trial you could try out. You get to find opportunities like this, right? And you could follow our top deal strategy, which is every time we make an investment out of the Kingscrowd Capital Fund, you could check out our fund offerings under the funds tab on Kingscrowd. And I only say that because if you love this session, then if you want to find more things like this, go and check out the platform, utilize it. I think you're going to find some really interesting things that you might be into. But with all of that said, I want to turn it back and congratulate Airthium. Our latest Kingscrowd Capital investment is also the winner today here by 1 vote. As the fan favorite pitch. Congratulations to Airthium and their entire team. I think what they're doing is amazing and is very much a revolutionary technology. And I very much hope for their success, frankly, of all of these businesses here today. It's been a pleasure to be with you all today. Thank you for your time, consideration, your questions. We appreciate you spending your time with us today. If you enjoyed today's session, I'm really excited to say that in Q4, we're going to be having a Regulation A focused pitch session. And the reason why we're doing that might not matter to you. The regulation for you might not matter, but why it matters to us is because Regulation A offerings are larger offerings, right? They're bigger capital raises. You could go up to $75 million, which typically means the companies are more established, they're later stage businesses doing larger raises. And so it's just a different flavor, right? These are the kind of really early stage grand ambition companies. And what you're going to see on that Reg A demo day is some companies that are starting to think about IPO, right? Are getting closer to that exit time horizon. So it'll be a little bit of a different flavor. So if you enjoyed today's session and you're looking for some different types of investment opportunities, definitely be sure to listen and check out our newsletter where we'll be letting you know about Q4 demo day coming up. It's been a pleasure to be with you all today. Thank you again for your time. Leah, Teddy, thank you for your insights and time and research as well. We hope you've had a wonderful day and look forward to seeing you on future sessions. Thanks again. Take care, everyone.